In this series of videos, we've been covering the basic setup of an app that does brick breaker style gameplay. In this specific video, we're going to cover collision with the ball, right? So basics of collision, right? So collided with something, right? So our ball has all these events, and so does our sprite, and we also could have other sprites, right? But our ball is what we want to play with. All right, so we're going to update the color of the ball whenever it's colliding with our paddle user sprite. Okay, so when we collide with something, we get a variable, and it's just other. So what is the ball colliding with? And so it allows us to check what other is. If we only have one other thing on the canvas, we don't really need to check, but we're going to be adding things to our canvas later, so it is proper to go ahead and check. So the first thing we need to do is add an if block, because if is what we use to ask a question, and then our question is going to be simply, is the other thing that we collided with the player's paddle or bar sprite? Okay, so at the bottom of every component is the actual component value, right? So the actual object. So we're saying, is the other thing we collided with, so the ball collided with something, is that other thing the player's bar? Right? And if it is, we want to go ahead and set the ball's paint color to, let's say, yellow. Okay? So when the ball is colliding with the player's bar sprite, it will be yellow. So in order to turn it back to black, we use this no longer colliding with event, and it's going to have the same logic, right? It gives us what is it no longer colliding with, and so when it stops colliding, it triggers this event. So we say, okay, what is it no longer colliding with? Is it no longer colliding with the player's bar sprite? If so, change the color back to black. Okay, so we have two basic event handlers. When the ball starts colliding with something, check if that collision is the bar, and then make the ball yellow. When it stops colliding with it, change the ball back to black. Now, if we test this out, our bar is kind of small, so testing collision, we'll usually set values that allow us to test a little bit easier. So we're going to make the bar sprite much larger than it would be in the actual game. We're going to make it 200 pixels high and 200 pixels wide. Okay, and you see how it goes off our edge a little bit. We can move it up if we want, but the point is this will get set in our initialization, so we don't have to move it at all. But now it's 200 by 200, so it's much easier to see these collision events with a larger sprite. Right? Once we get back to gameplay, we'll make that smaller adjustment. We'll make that smaller again. Right? So we should test it out to see if our collision is working, and when we are colliding with the sprite, our ball should be yellow, and then when we are no longer colliding, our ball should return to black.